My name's Jeff Turcott, if you don't know who I am already. This is my wife, Kelly Kurtz, and we appreciate you coming, and we appreciate Fidelity Bank sponsoring the use of this room today. And we're going to be here on a regular basis every month on a Wednesday at the same time, and we have the next 6 months of topics laid out, and we'll get that into your hands as well. The next event that we're going to have is actually going to be on Valentine's Day, February 14th. So we might have something a little special that day. Maybe someone will bake something, I don't know.
Something chocolate.
Something chocolate, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And the topic of that
is communicating with your adult children. So that's been an area that a lot of folks have been stumped with what to do, especially when they're thinking about downsizing. So we figured we have a nice seminar on that. And then moving forward, as Jeff mentioned, we're going to be doing the monthly seminars. A lot of our seminars will be panel discussions. So it won't be every month you'll be hearing just us talk. We're going to have experts in each area, kind of present some information. We'll ask kind of a question-based format. So there'll be a chance for you to meet some other, professionals in the area. But we thought for the first couple that it would just be Jeff and I getting launched.
So, hey, there we go. So a little bit about us. This is Rose. We just named her that.
It is her name.
But she looks so happy. So just a little bit about us. In the past couple of years, we found ourselves working more and more with older adult homeowners. So Kelly and I each hold certifications as a senior real estate specialist, as well as certified senior housing professionals, which is a little bit more of a certification and a little bit more of education that we embarked on. Now, the material that you're going to see today was really developed by Nikki Buckaloo, who is the founder of the Senior Real Estate Institute, who certifies senior housing professionals like us. Nikki Buckaloo. It's kind of fun to say. We're thinking we're going to name our cat Nikki Buckaloo.
His name's Charlie, but we call him Charlie Buckaloo sometimes.
Charlie Buckaloo. But just this past fall in October, we attended our first senior conference. It was in Oklahoma City, and there was about 120 other folks like us that have gone through this training and served the senior market. And have developed and are practicing the process of when it comes time to decide to maybe sell the home and move into something different. How do we help? So it was an exciting time. It was a lot of fun. Not a lot to do in Oklahoma City, but ate some barbecue.
No, it was a great trip. Yeah, I think also just a little bit about our background is I started my business Simply Well, Simply Organized back in 2014, and started just organizing people, go into their offices, their home, their basement, their closets, whatever, and started that whole process. And did that for quite a while until 2016. I thought, oh, maybe I'll get my real estate license, and because downsizing and real estate seem to go together. And so started doing real estate in addition to organizing. But then I also realized a lot of houses were kind of a mess and could use some staging. So we added the staging business in. So really, we've been doing parts of this business since 2014. So we've had a lot of experience, work with a lot of different people in all different scenarios, from hoarding situations to a little bit of clutter to a complete overload of cleaning out a house that someone's lived in for 40 or 50 years. So we've seen a lot of those progressions. And then, as Jeff mentioned, we decided that we really wanted to focus on the senior market because we were noticing that those are the folks that needed our help the most. And my background is also in occupational therapy. I worked in healthcare for 30 years as an occupational therapist. So I really have always been drawn towards seniors, and being able to kind of pull all these pieces together, organizing, decluttering, staging, and real estate with the market that I love the most, the population of seniors, seemed like a dream job to me. So it's really launched into our business, and Jeff and I are tackling this together as a husband-wife team because it's just something we're both passionate about.
So today we're going to hopefully give you a lot of information, and not necessarily about. This isn't meant to be necessarily a sales pitch. We can talk a little bit more later on if you would like to meet with us later. But today, talking about what are these steps when it comes to downsizing, and what things should be considered, and what kinds of things should you be thinking about. So we're going to go through 5 steps today. We're going to focus quite a bit on the 4th step, dealing with a house full of possessions. That seems to be what people really want to focus on and get a little bit more information about. Like, what do I do? Open the closet and
close the closet.
What are we gonna do now? So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So why downsize? Why move at all? Why not just stay? Some of the reasons why people might consider moving from where they are, or moving to a smaller place, or moving to or even just from upstairs to downstairs, to downsize from a large home to just living on one floor. But some of the reasons, number one, and this was surprising to me when we started doing this research, that social interaction social engagement is really important. I know my folks are really involved in their church and in other organizations, and they thrive on that. My mother is busy like nobody's business. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing today? Well, I gotta go here, I gotta go there, you're gonna be home to make supper? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make supper. Okay, that's good. So her social interaction is all about what keeps her thriving, and my father as well. Studies have shown that people who stay actively engaged socially and intellectually typically live longer, healthier, and more satisfying lives. So I think that's true. If folks are in a place where kids have moved away, or friends have moved away, and they're looking for that social interaction, that might be a reason to downsize. Number 2, we talked a little bit about maybe downsizing from a larger home into something that's more manageable, potentially. Maybe it's just moving the bedroom from upstairs to downstairs, so that you don't have to climb the stairs any longer. And just doing a little more decluttering, so life is easier. Managing a household can become a burden by reducing that burden of the home that's either too large or requires some upkeep. Helps people focus their energy on things that they enjoy doing, rather than having to keeping up on the house. And step number 3, health and wellness. It's in addition to staying socially active, to reduce stress, keeping up with your proper nutrition and exercise is important too, to keep down the stress. So if, when folks find themselves in a situation where all 3, reasons exist, they may consider a downsize or a move. So those are some of the reasons that we find why people are thinking about this. So let's jump right into this. So step 1, it's always a good idea to start with a plan. Let's have a plan, and a plan that fits your lifestyle and your future needs as well. So where to start? Well, why not today? Let's start thinking about it today. You don't have to move today, or even this year, or maybe even next year. You don't really have to do anything, but let's start thinking about it. And a few things to consider are, current and long-term health. What's your health like today? What in the near future? What is it going to be? Are you anticipating a knee surgery or potentially some other thing coming down the road? And what about again, we talked a little bit about social interaction. What is it you want to be involved in? Are you involved in a church group or a community group or a volunteer orchestra maybe? Those kinds of groups. What's your transportation like? What are those kinds of needs? Are you still driving? Do you want to drive? Where do you want to go? Where is it you need to go?
Yeah, and if driving were taken away from you for some reason, are you in an isolated area? Are you, on 2 acres of land down a country road where there's no neighbors really nearby? Would it be stressful and a burden for someone to have to come pick you up, to bring you to a doctor's appointment, or are you in a more, urban area or a little bit closer to friends and family, so that if you did need rides or you needed to pick up the MART van or senior transportation, would that be easier and less stressful on you and your family members? So those are things to just consider when you're thinking about where you're living now and where you may want to go. And the same, as Jeff talked about the social interaction, I just wanted to add to that. If you are in an isolated area and you're home alone, will you feel isolated? And, we all hear, oh, I'm not gonna cook for one. Cooking for one is let's just have a bowl of cereal, or I'm just gonna have a piece of toast. So you stop eating maybe nutritionally as well as you could. And so over time, weakness, nutritional balance, you're eating a lot of prepared frozen foods, maybe increasing your sugar or sodium intake, and now you're having some issues with your health. So there's a lot of things that seem to happen as you stay more isolated in your little environment of your home because you're comfortable there. And that's where we want people to just start to think about that. What if things were different? If you had an incident or an event, are you set up for long term where you want to be? Just not to scare anybody or to make you make a rash decision or a change, but just to start thinking about what that might look like should things be different.
Any questions about what we talked about there? No? Okay. So as part of step one, having this plan, consider the senior living options that are out there. There's a number of them. We'll camp out here a little bit and talk a little bit about these. So obviously, independent senior living communities. There's a couple that come to mind that are local to us. The Willows in Worcester, a very nice independent community. Haywood, Wakefield, and Gardner, kind of on the other side. Again, another nice community. These communities sometimes they offer meal plans, as part of the fee. You can choose to dine there or not.
They may have a little kitchen in your apartment or unit, so you can still do some cooking, but if you wanted to go down for dinner or go for lunch, or you didn't feel like cooking that day, it's nice to have meals. And that also adds to the social interaction, because now it's not just one person or a couple together. Now you might have other friends or people that you might be socializing with at meals, because meals can be as we know, a very social aspect of life.
Mm-hmm. Most of these communities offer maid service, exercise and fitness programs, just to be active, and other things that are on site. Most are pet friendly, so if you have a cat named Charlie Baxter,
yep,
he'd be welcome there. But those are important questions to ask if you're thinking about an independent senior living community. The next, assisted senior living community, similar to independent, but with a little more help. A couple of the places that we're very familiar with, the Gables in Fitchburg, Sunrise right here in Leominster, Manor on the Hill in Leominster, Benchmark in Leominster. These communities are designed for those who need a little more help with activities. So there's on-site help, and depending on the community, how many hours, how many minutes a week, or hours a week or minutes a day that the help is assisted.
And just a little aside on that, one of our upcoming seminars will be a whole presentation with representatives from different communities like that, so you'll get to know more about those communities and hear from them and ask questions. We went on tours of all these places when we were doing our certification, so we got familiar with what's inside. They're kind of mysterious if you just always see them from a distance and you wonder what happens in there. Will I ever come out? Can I come out once I go in? But we were really enlightened when we went in to see the vibrancy of the folks that live there, the staff, the decor. I mean, it's not your grandmother's nursing home that we all have memories of going to visit and not wanting to touch anything and standing there and it smelled. And I mean, it's a whole different world now. So it's almost good to go visit just to walk through and get a little bit of that fear or that misconception out of your minds, just to see what's out there. It doesn't mean you have to decide to go there, but they almost always give you free cookies. So when you leave, there's a box of homemade cookies at the chef, because they all pride themselves on their food. So they'll give you a nice box to take home. Mm-hmm. And we were just at the Gables last week, and we got to take a
cookies.
box home. We had to put them in the freezer, but we are taking them out one at a time. But it's
That's right.
it's a nice way to just go, and they'll always invite you for lunch. Call ahead. It's a way to check it out. So I think it's worth knowing what's in the area.
Mm-hmm. I think you were going to talk next about memory care.
Yeah, so memory care and long-term care are also things that potentially down the pike could impact some of us, all of us, people we know, or we've been involved with family members that have had memory care issues. It's never something that we're going to raise our hand and say, I want to go to memory care, but it happens. And so keeping in mind, if you do think about looking for an alternative living situation as you age, that some of these communities, and Jeff's going to talk a little bit about the continuing care, but they'll offer various levels of care. So you might have a community that has independent living and memory care. But the memory care units are also better than they used to be. They really try to focus on meeting the residents where they're at. They have a lot of appropriate-based activities and a lot of photos around to kind of look at where that person was earlier in their life, where they might remember themselves as a younger person. So they really try to meet folks where they're at versus trying to constantly correct them that, no, it's not Thursday, it's Tuesday. And, they really go with the flow. And it's somewhat comforting to see that it can be a more positive environment than we, in our mind, think, oh, that's a terrible place. Everyone's sitting in a wheelchair and no one's paying attention to them. There's a lot of activity that goes on because a lot of times memory can be gone, but physically they're able to do things. So there's activities, they take care of them as far as meals go, and it's nice to know what communities in the area have memory care unit. And we know that here we have the Highlands in Fitchburg, which has a memory care unit, and River Terrace in Lancaster also has a memory care unit. And there's definitely other places in the area, but it's nice just to be familiar with that should one or both of you, someone in your family need that care.
So we've talked about independent, assisted, memory care, long care. Continuing care retirement communities bundle it all together. And there's a couple in our area. River Court is one of them in Groton, where they have an independent living space, an assisted living space, and they also have memory care. So someone could decide to move into that community and be there, right through the end of their life if they chose. It was funny at the time that when we did tour our River Court, and we just it wasn't planned. We just happened to sit down in the library, and there was a woman there, just sat down as well, and she was picking out a book, and we just kind of struck up a conversation, and we asked her how long she'd been there, and about a year or so, and one thing she said to us, she says, I should have done this sooner. This place is great. She had this big, huge house, and it was, time to get out of it, and she said, my daughter said, you are the happiest we've ever seen you. It was really, and we didn't prompt any of that. That was, she just told us, and she was so happy.
Yeah, time and time again, we find people that say they wish they had done it sooner. That seems to be the common thread. Once they get over the hurdle of doing it, it's kind of like taking the first step. Once that happens, you realize, why was I so afraid to do this? This is really great, and people are really enjoying not necessarily their last phase, but the next phase of their life, so that they're settled and they're free of a lot of their stresses and possessions of the burdens of things.
Other folks that we've become friends with and who have this similar certification as we do some work in Central Florida. There's two different groups, I think, that have certifications in Central Florida, and there's, they're always talking about the next community that's being built, and people are like getting on the waiting list to get in there. They know, and they know, like it's almost like their inventory. They know what's available at this community and what's available at this community. That this community over here has, a great pasta dish on Thursdays, and they just know the whole.
Yeah. And the golfing. A lot of people go for active lifestyles, tennis players, golfers. They're looking for communities down south that offer all those things. There's also some really nice communities in Hingham, Mass. that offer a lot of this lifestyle. So it's really becoming the next trend of folks kind of adult community. It's like really enjoying activities and going in younger. People have been waiting a lot and going when it's almost too late to enjoy it. So especially down south, you see people going sooner because they're wanting to enjoy that lifestyle.
So brings us to planned adult communities, condos, townhomes, garden homes, patio homes, and subsidized housing. Folks that we talk to oftentimes say, I just want to move to a one-story ranch, and I'll be fine there. Well, number one, try and find a ranch, any place in Leominster or Fitchburg. That's
not got 15 or 20 offers the day it goes on the market.
Right.
It gets very competitive right now for finding to purchase another house. They're out there, and certainly we have strategies to help people who are downsizing be in a great position to get their offer accepted because of how we prepare your home and prepare your financial, all the great things you can bring to an offer if you are looking to buy another house by being able to, pay cash versus needing a mortgage, things like that. So,
but there's other communities in our area as well that aren't necessarily labeled as 55 and over. Like Brooks Pond is one that's really close to where we live. And there's always activities there, and they're great apartments. They're roomy and so those are rentals. Chapman Place across the street from the fire department, right on Central Street. Those are condominiums, so that'd be a purchase. Those are good size as well. Again, they come up rarely. And when they do, they're snatched up. The real estate market's going to change. It always does. It goes like this, and then it comes back like this. So it's hard to time. You want to move to Chapman Place when it's down here like this because, waiting too long might not be the best. Liberty Commons is another ownership, condominium ownership. Northgate Meadows is a rental. So there's other communities out there that if you're not quite ready for or think that you can still do well, without assistance.
And also just
options.
some of these places that you might want if you decide you want to pursue a rental, just go ahead and put your name on the waiting list now. And if they may take a year to call you, and when they call you, you can say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. But if you wait until a year when you think, I really need to go somewhere, now you're just getting on the waiting list. So we encourage visits to these places so that you can start to just see where you might like to live, or just drive through the community and say, yeah, I could see myself here maybe. Let's get our name on the list. Doesn't cost anything usually. Some places may require a little deposit, but mostly it's just getting your name on the list and then having the power still to say, no, I'm not ready, or I'm going to pass. Or when it comes up, oh, you know what? I've been downsizing this whole year while my name's been on the list, so that if they called and said something's ready, you know what? I think we're ready. We're pretty close. As opposed to, oh my gosh, they just called. I haven't done one thing. Now we're in a panic, and the fire drill happens.
Right.
And we've seen a lot of fire drills, and we can help with the fire drills, but our purpose of these seminars is to eliminate the fire drill and try to make it a smooth process to prepare slowly over time, so you can get used to the idea of transitioning to somewhere else if you would like to.
And then there's always subsidized housing. Some of the subsidized housing in our area, the Joseph House in Fitchburg, the Sundial in Fitchburg, Sunset Towers in Leominster, the Banal House in Gardner. So those, again, on a waiting list, it must qualify, for the subsidies as well. So, any questions about living options? Maybe you want to add anything? No? Okay. So here we are, step 2. That was a lot.
Yeah, step one's a lot.
Step 1, make a plan, get prepared where you want to go. Start thinking about that. Next, step 2 is communicate with your family and your friends. So once you've decided, or once you're starting to think about, where your living options are, put this out there. Start communicating this. And it's important to remember, you're asking if they want more information. You're not asking if they approve or agree with your decision.
Right.
You're not asking for permission.
Right. You have to. We do see the roles reverse a lot, where the parents become the kids and the kids become the parents, and that creates a lot of conflict, which is one of the reasons we're going to do the Communicating with Your Adult Children seminar, to talk a lot more about that. But just to communicate that, to say to your son or daughter or multiple kids, Dad and I have decided we're going to be selling the house probably in the next year, and we're looking at these 3 places, and we're not sure which one we want yet, but this is where we're leaning. And kind of say it more as a matter of fact, this is what we've decided, this is what we're doing. We just wanted to let you know if you have any questions, versus, what do you think we should do? Should we sell the house? Should we stay here? Oh no, oh gosh, my then they get into all their reasons you shouldn't, or what they think you should do, and then it starts making you question, am I making the right decision? And it somewhat takes your power away, versus really having time to think about. And planning ahead so you can really process it is what's important, because then when you come to your children to tell them that this is what you're doing, you've already decided, and they'll be more accepting of it because they think, they really thought about this. Okay, I'm surprised we didn't see it coming, or wow, that's great that you've made a really good decision.
Or it's not on them to decide for you.
Right.
That's a different, taking that on.
Right.
Now that's my responsibility, or the child or the kid's responsibility.
Because sometimes we'll see them say, well, you have to move to South Carolina next to me because I can't come up here every weekend and take care of you, or you have to move to this community because I have to bring the kids to soccer practice and I can only stop on Tuesdays. And then you feel stressed and pressured that now they feel they have to take care of you, and you might be moving out of a community that you love, where your other support systems are. So again, thinking about things early and starting this process is what's really important, so that you don't get those pressures and feel like you've lost control during the next phase of your life, when you should be your happiest. You've worked hard, you're retired, your health is still good, and you want to be vibrant and make those choices that you're in control of.
So, like Kelly said, communicating your intentions effectively is all about how you say it. So again, just to go over this, share your preferred living options, arrangements, and your professional service providers with your family and your friends. Create this plan. Preferably write down your notes, inform and let other let you know what you want to do and kind of what your time frame is. We do have a sample letter that might work if you're really having a tough time. We just want to make everyone aware that we are considering a move. Here's the letter.
These are the places we're thinking about.
These are the places we're thinking about. If you want some more information.
We visited, and...
Yeah. So you... So that's a little bit about communicating. So step 3, we'll talk a little bit about this. So once you've started the plan, you've told other folks about your plan, about what you're wanting to do, what you're going to do. Now you need to surround yourself with qualified professionals. Things like a real estate agent, a move manager, someone who is actually going to pick up and move things, a real mover, potentially an estate liquidator, personal organizer, your mortgage lender if you're looking to purchase a condo. Maybe your home needs some repairs. There might be some pests, possibly. House cleaning services, so the house is spotless. I can remember when my parents sold their house in Baltimore. My mother wanted the listing to say immaculate. So she cleaned that house like nobody's business. So the listing said immaculate. Possibly an interior decorator, home inspector, of course, attorneys, which may include an estate planning attorney, if you haven't already considered that. We will be having a seminar upcoming that will involve a panel, and an estate planning attorney will give us some ideas about that as well. And on that panel, we'll also include a financial planner, your insurance agent, and then, after you've toured these senior living communities, maybe you made a decision, one of them is for you. Include those folks in your circle of professionals.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about aging in place, but we are going to be doing that at another seminar actually in March, is staying put, aging in place. Because sometimes the best option might be to stay in your home. Maybe you have great supports, you have a great layout of your home, and it really makes sense to have maybe some modifications. So we have a lot of ideas, and we have a network of people that can help with that, and really looking at functionality of your home and how it might work for you in the future. And so those are things to continue to consider. So we're not just saying everybody's got to sell their house and move. That's not our objective at all. It's what makes best sense for you individually, just trying to make you aware of the different options, and then trying to set you up now. Because one thing, and again, we'll talk about this more with the Aging in Place seminar, but you don't want to think about putting the bathroom on the first floor when you've fallen and broken your hip and you're in the nursing home for rehab and they say, you can't go home unless your bathroom is on the first floor. And you say, okay, let's see if we can call somebody to put a bathroom in. That's not the time to put the bathroom in. The time to put the bathroom in or think about reworking your house is now, while you're healthy, why you can make good decisions, why you can get, a couple of quotes from good contractors that we can help with vetting those folks. So you can plan and do it the way you want, so that when the time comes that you need it, you just ease into that transition versus the fire drill of, oh my gosh, now we've got a hospital bed in the living room, which happens sometimes, but if we can avoid it and make it more comfortable, that's really what we want. So even though we're realtors, our goal isn't to try to sell you the next house and sell your house and get you to buy something. We want to get you to the right place for your situation. Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about estate liquidators? Because I'm a little
Sure.
Yes.
concerned about that, because I see someone coming in and say, okay, we'll buy everything out of your house
Yep.
and give you pennies on the dollar.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a couple of different, and if you're from town, you've probably seen some signs out on.
Says
on
we'll
that
we'll
kind
do
of-
it for free. We'll see if you qualify. And they look for those couple items that are big ticket items, and they see those and they go, okay, yeah, you qualify, because they know they're going to take those things and sell them. But in one sense, if you had a rush to get out of your house, sometimes some situations that may make sense. But Jeff and I work with a lot of trusted vendors. We have estate sale people. We like to start the process early so that we can really talk to you, find out what things in your home are of value, what things that you know history of, that maybe the right thing is for those items to go to an auction person, maybe it's to go to a consignment person, maybe it goes to a specialty. We have an antique clock that we're working with right now from somebody that's over 200 years old. So we're knowing the right people of who to get those special pieces in. Then there may be times when the rest of it gets packaged up and goes to Salvation Army or the Habitat. But we're all about getting you money for the things that you've saved your whole life or that are valuable for your family. So this market of seniors, they're touting it as a senior tsunami. We've heard that term a lot.
It's coming.
And a lot of people are preying on that and thinking, oh, well, we're just going to come and clean out your house for free. And then in the meantime, they took something that was really valuable and you didn't get anything for it. So we're very mindful of that. We're not saying it never would happen, but we like to really be part of the entire process so that we can protect you and protect your possessions. So,
and really, what your wishes are.
Yes.
Certainly there's situations where speed is of the essence. The fire drill, it has to go, and unfortunately, sometimes that happens. But if you had time to plan, you potentially would do it different. Actually, most estate sales happen. Some people think an estate sale happens after somebody has passed, and it's now it's time to clean this out. It has to go. That's not the truth. Most estate sales happen while people are still living, and it's their collections. So the folks that we vetted, the professionals, when they do it professionally, they do it right. They typically come in the week before. Well, they'll come in for a free. The folks that we work with, they'll come in for a free estimate of does it even make sense? Is there even enough in the home to warrant an estate sale? And if the answer is yes, then there's a negotiation of what the cut's going to be. It might be a 60-40, it might be 50-50. But they have to calculate what their hours are going to be as well, and what the items are going to sell for. And then typically they come in the week before and tag everything and set up the estate sale so it's pleasing for someone to come in and walk through. We went to one of their sales. Where was that? was one in Grafton and the other one
Grafton
I
and-
can't remember what the other one was. But this house was amazing. And whoever was there, that this family was big, and they probably had a lot of parties, probably a lot of outdoor parties. They had checkered tablecloths, blue and white, red and white, checkered tablecloths. They must have had 50 of them.
Yeah.
And they were beautiful. I mean, and somebody probably...
They were fabric ones,
Fabric.
you know. They could tell they had all the family reunion parties there.
Yeah.
And
They had a big yard.
Yeah,
It was-
nice stuff. But yeah, I think the estate sale piece is something that's happening a lot to people, and they think that you ask the kids first who wants what, and if the kids don't want it, then someone's going to just come and throw it in the dumpster. And we've had a lot of experience with that. So our hearts tell us not to have your stuff go in a dumpster. It may not go to your kids may not want it, but there's people out there that could use it, that need it, that may want it. And if we can get you some money for it to help towards your expenses to the next, where you're going next, we try for that first. If nobody seems to want to buy it, but it can go to somebody who really is in need, and that makes you feel good knowing that you have a special charity, a church, a donation site, we'll make sure in our best effort that those things can get where you would like, within whatever our powers are to do that, so that you feel better about your things, going somewhere, versus we've watched things go in a dumpster, and it makes everybody sad.
Yep. Good question.
Yeah.
Next we're going to talk a little bit about the support that everyone needs. Everyone needs support when making a move, no matter their age. No matter if you're moving into college, move back home from college, then they were leaving. We've never had that situation. Or moving from their next home to their forever home. Everyone needs some help. NASM, National Association of Senior Move Managers, is an association that trains and certifies senior move managers that specialize in these types of moves. Kelly is certified as a senior move manager, and her background, and I'm just going to brag on you for a minute.
Okay.
Her background as an occupational therapist for over 30 years, really, she has the heart, she knows when moving folks what's important, stay away from trip hazards, make sure there's enough room to move, set the house up so that it's accessible, things are accessible. You're not putting the everyday dishes way up on the third shelf, those kinds of things. But this association, they also have a large seminar in the fall. It's typically a couple weeks after the senior seminar that we go to in Oklahoma, so we'll probably attend next year.
Yeah, the nice thing about the senior move management component, it's newer to this area. Most people just call the movers. We still work with movers. We typically work mostly with Fitton or Hartman, but we'll work with other movers as the professionals that will move your bigger items. But we come in either weeks, months, or just days before and start packaging up your smaller personal items, help you sort through them as part of the process, so that we know what you're taking is what you really want. No sense in packing and taking everything in your house, even if you have a basement in the new place, to fit, because then it's going to sit in a box down in the basement, and then somebody else is going to deal with it later. Plus, you're going to pay for moving, and you're trying to unload some of the stuff that's not important anymore. So we work with you, and you can see, obviously that's not us, but that kind of level of taking things down. What do you think about these cups and saucers? What about these dishes? And then a lot of times what happens, and this is one of my favorite parts of what I do, is I get the stories about the teacup, or about the cutting board, or about the set of knives that they got for their wedding present, or about this little trinket that's on their windowsill that their granddaughter brought back from Ireland. Something that's special to them, that if the estate person that says we'll clean it out for free, scoop it up, throw it out. You're not going to have time to tell those stories, and that's part of the process of you being able to let go of some of the stuff and to make the move. And so even though it may take me 4 hours to go through your kitchen with you, it's important time that we have to do. And if we have to break it into 2 sessions, we do that. But that's where the work happens, is being able to let go of some of those memories, or to share them, and then you feel more comfortable saying, that was wonderful, and then you're able to put it in the donate box, or you say, nope, I want to take this with me, and we make room for it. We find a spot. So this piece has been really life-changing, if you will, in our business because it's brought everything together that is important to a senior, to really anybody moving, but it's been really important. We've learned a lot of lessons and become wonderful friends with our clients as a result.
So, step 4, this is where we're going to talk a little bit more about dealing with a house full of possessions. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
We have a house full of stuff. We love our stuff, don't we?
I know. I think we've talked about a lot of this intermittently through this, but we try to categorize them as, the necessities. What do you absolutely have to bring with you to the next spot? What are the everyday things you use that are essential? We talked about, we talk about family heirlooms, the things that you think are important or you've had from your grandmother or great-grandmother. A lot of times we're finding these adult children, their styles are different. They don't want a lot of the things. They don't sit at a dining room table and have a Sunday dinner like we were accustomed to growing up to. The dining room table is just a mountain for the laundry basket or for the kids' backpacks. So they're not as likely to want to take your hutch and your big set or your china dishes that you got for a wedding present. So those are the things that we have to decide if anybody would like some or where we can pass them on to the next generation.
And this is something that, that some other folks may not sort if they're going to clean out your house. They're not going to sort through some of these different categories. There certainly are a number of items that would be good charitable donations, and getting those things to those places like Kelly talked about, the people that could use them or want them. But that takes some, obviously some effort. It's a different, another trip. But sorting these things out and not just throwing everything into the dumpster.
And we help with that process. We don't say, oh, donate them at this place, and then now you've got to load up your own car and go drop them off. We coordinate getting those things to the places they need to go to. We know which donation sites take which items. There's a lot of places that we work with that set up apartments for women that are single women or have been, in abusive situations. They're setting up apartments for them. They may be setting up apartments for people getting out of a prison release program, but that have nothing and are going to start fresh. So they'll take the household goods. They'll take sheets and bedding and pillows and blankets. They'll take TV stands. They'll take things that you think, what am I going to do with this?
What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So, yes, did you have a question?
Mattresses that are essentially new?
We do have some places that will take essentially new mattresses, but mattresses are a tough one to get rid of with all the new regulations. But we do have a couple places that if there's no stains and they're clean, that we can get rid of those. Otherwise, they cost anywhere from $75 a piece to get rid of them. And it's a process. So there are certain things that are hard to get rid of.
Yep. Trash. If having an estate sale, let the professionals decide what is trash. Well, potentially.
Yeah, sometimes you think, oh, this is junk, no one's going to want this, but it might be something that somebody's collecting that could have some value. But again, we've had houses that were all trash. We've had smoker houses. We've had houses with water damage that things are not salvageable. And we've had trash people come in, and we meet the trash people there, and we spend the day and point and tell them, kind of like you see on TV, but they take the stuff and they get it out and they clean out the house. But if there's salvageable stuff, the trash is expensive now. You can't just throw things out. It costs a lot of money to get rid of things. So if we can donate as much as we can first for free, it saves you money in the long run because you're not paying trash people to send it all to landfill. So,
and being realistic about these items, we've worked with some folks that, they have the kids have a great wish of, no, we want to keep this, and we want this is something we want to have, and then we get to the end of the project and it's still in the basement, and they never thought through what they're going to do with it and where's it going to go and who's going to move it, and unfortunately it just winds up having to get moved or at the last minute. So being realistic about where these things are going, who's taking them, and that kind of thing. Okay, Jim, you want that?
We need it out by Thursday, or we can help you with that. Sometimes people think, oh, well, we'll just get a storage unit. We'll just put everything in the storage unit until someone's going to take it. But what we find is we'd like to be in the storage unit business because those people are making a killing because everybody paying month after month after month to keep this stuff that eventually ends up being thrown out. So there are times and situations where a storage unit might be a good solution. We don't see it as often as people would think. We like to use those mobile pods that people put in the driveway because it is a temporary solution to move it from unpacking your house to the next house, and then you know it's short term and then it's going to be unloaded in the next place. But truly just getting a storage unit and putting everything the kids say they might take is like when the kids go off to college and they leave their college stuff in your basement and they say, oh, don't throw that out, we want those books, we want that, whatever, and they never take it. And now 20 years later, they have no intention of taking it, and now it's your responsibility almost to get rid of it because they're too busy to come and do it.
And their basement's full of their stuff.
And their basement's full. And we also find a lot of people say, oh, we can help you. We'll get a dumpster. We can clean this out in a weekend or 2 weekends. But a house you've lived in for 30, 40, or 50 years is not a weekend job. It's not 2 weekends. It's not even 2 months. It can be several months, 6 months or more. And we like to set up appointments to come in and help with little chunks of time to get you on a routine of us working with you to get rid of things or to pare down, so that it's not overwhelming. We don't want to do it in a weekend either because you can't even remember what you got rid of. And then you say, what happened to that? Was that in that box that I threw up? And you wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, I think that was in the coat pocket of those coats that they just took to donation. And then you panic. So we don't want that kind of stress. We want you to have time to go through things. But we like to keep it moving so that we don't wait 3 months in between sessions and you kind of lose momentum and then you go, oh, we're not going to deal with it now. So we try to give you a little nudge but not overwhelm you.
Right. So any questions about house full of possessions? We kind of beat that pretty good. So step 5, here we are at the end. So you had the plan, you told people about the plan, you got rid of, downsized from all your possessions, and now you're celebrating your new lifestyle and adjusting to it. So here's a few things to be aware of. Be aware of your feelings. If you're in a new place, or if you're in even if you've just downsized to a first floor, it might be a different feel. It might be a different surrounding. It might be a different setting. Maybe a lot of the other things that were around you are no longer because you downsized and you decluttered. So be aware of those feelings. Everyone's different. Everyone feels that a little bit differently. At the end of this, the folks that we've worked with typically tell us, "Thank you so much. I could have never gotten through that, and I'm so relieved now." And it's like a burden has been lifted. It's amazing. It was some work though to get there.
And if we work with you as the move manager as well, and we decide which things are most important to you, we try to set up your new place as similar to your house as you were coming from. So you may not have everything you had because you're getting smaller space, but we take the most important things so that when you walk into your new home or condo or apartment or whatever it is, you feel like this is my house on a smaller scale. And one of the best feedback or best rewards we get is when we do that setup for folks and they come to their new place at the end of the day. They've been off for the day with their kids having lunch or doing whatever. We've set up the apartment, met the movers, we've got the new place all set, unpacked, and they walk in and they cry and they say, this looks just like my home. This is amazing. And they're not walking into boxes everywhere and how are we going to set up our bed and where are we going to put our stuff? I mean, Jeff and I were at the Gables last week taking blue painter's tape, and we were mapping out exactly where the furniture is going for the folks who are moving tomorrow, so we could see it on the rug and see where everything's going to go. And then we thought, is there room for that big giant plant that she really wants to take? Or can we scoot the couch over a little and get the special end table that was her grandmother's? Like, can we move things around? And so we do it to that level of not just the movers show up and, oh, well, it's not going to fit. I guess you can't keep that. We really try to think about how can we make this work. And we want them to walk in tomorrow night at the end of our day moving to feel exactly like we listened to what they said. We picked the important things and we fit what we could and hung the pictures that they love the most. And so that's that's where we're different, because we're doing a lot of these things that no one else is thinking. We're finding realtors are saying, oh, we got to get your house on the market. The open house has got to be next Tuesday or next Saturday because the photographer can only come on Wednesday, and they rush you, and then now everybody's stressed. So we're trying to avoid that and have you start really early so that we can make it a happy outcome for everyone.
As we're saying, sometimes we all need a little bit of support, and that's what we're talking about. So some points to make the adjustment a little bit easier, like we talked about before, stay active or become active. Now that this burden is taken off you, keep in touch with your families and your family and your friends, make new friends, and if you decide to move to a new community. Focus on physical activity. Kelly and I need to remind ourselves of that every day. It's so easy not to get on the Peloton, but we do. Educate or pursue education. I'm a big proponent of lifelong learning. Kelly and I each have a list of certifications that we have, and there's probably more to get. But always learning, always.
And there's lots of programs for seniors. You can take free courses at colleges and online, and if there's a hobby you wanted to learn or things to do, this is like such a great opportunity because you have time, and if you can keep your mind sharp and you can be healthy, you can do anything really. The sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. Take some time to explore your new lifestyle and learn to have fun again. I don't think anybody forgets how to have fun.
Sometimes I think if you're stressed and overwhelmed, you think we're just in a routine and we just sit in the chair at night and we watch TV and we don't go out, and it's too much work to get dressed into regular clothes because we're all in that habit of just COVID put us all in a bad spot where we isolate more, and it's nice, like we said, when we visited some of these senior communities, to see the vibrancy of what's going on in there that we weren't expecting to see. I thought, since I worked in healthcare and saw a lot of nursing homes and stuff, that the tone of it was kind of drab and didn't really want to go there. But they've changed so much that it was energizing to see it. So we feel good about recommending some of these places for people to tour, and we don't get financial rewards or anything for sending you to these places. We're not connected. If you use this person, they're going to give us money. It's not about that. It's like we just want to be educated on what's out there so we can listen to your situation and help make recommendations, and ultimately the decision is yours, but we can help guide you however we can to what we know is available.
Good points. So that's the steps 1 through 5. Thanks for coming, appreciate it. Like I said, we're gonna be doing this once a month. Again, be here February 14th. So we'll stick around afterwards.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions or.
If you want us to come to your house and look at your specific situation and because this is more of a general overview of things, but everyone has a different set of circumstances. So we're happy to do that. We provide free consultations to help, just answer your questions. And we're always available by phone and email as well. So we're hoping to build relationships with the folks that come to these seminars so that we can be resources in the community for them to help them along their journeys.
I think when you came in, we also gave you an evaluation if you wanted to complete that and leave it with
any feedback you have for us, we'd love it. We're trying to build to make these seminars better each month as we go. This was our first one, so we thank you for coming for sure, and we hope the rooms will be filled as we continue on with different topics. But if you know someone who might benefit from hearing some of this information or some of the other topics, feel free to share. We do have some more brochures on the back that have the next, at least February and March topics, but are up through June, like Jeff said, is on our website currently, and we'll be posting the other topics soon. So
thank you very much.
yeah, thank you so much.